morning, everyone. You may be seated. Good morning again. Welcome to our annual opening convocation ceremony, the time when we convene, when we come together as a community, an interconnected community, and when we officially mark the beginning of a new academic year. Welcome, my friends, to the 2026-2027 year at Maryville College, the 207th year, think about that, since our founding in 1819. I believe it's so important that we come together, that we see one another, that we speak with one another, and that we practice that beautiful and fine art of human interaction. And with that said, I want you, in just a moment, to please turn to your neighbor, your neighbors, wherever you're sitting, and say good morning, say welcome, and offer a fist bump or a handshake, whatever you're comfortable with. So right now, would you please turn and greet your neighbor? All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Okay. I like the energy. All right. I like the energy. Thank you. Thank you for greeting one another as members of this interconnected community. And today, this ceremony will remind us that this community of ours is not just limited to our campus and those of you currently here this morning. Our community extends, it connects to those who served the college for many years and have now retired. And it also extends, it connects to those just across our state line who are part of this larger region, this larger community for which we care so much here in Southern Appalachia. Today, we are pleased to have a number of special guests with us, some from whom you will be hearing soon. For now, it's my honor to begin by recognizing the members of the college's board of directors who are participating in today's service. Their leadership and dedication to the mission of the college are so deeply appreciated. If they would please call as I call their names, and when they have been recognized, we'll thank them with applause. First, Diane Humphreys Barlow. Reverend Wendy Neff. And Jane Carl. Thank you each so much for your service to the college. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Gabby Kerr, Associate Professor of Management and Chair of our college faculty, for a welcome to the new academic year from our faculty. Dr. Kerr.
It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. Good afternoon and welcome to a new academic year at Maryville College. My name is Dr. Gabby Kerr, and I would like to welcome all the faculty, staff, new and returning students, special guests, family, and friends to today's convocation. And a special thank you to my mom, hi Mom, for coming today. It is my responsibility as your elected faculty chair to kick off and welcome you to the new academic year. I want to start today with a simple question for all of us. Why are you here? Now, before you start questioning all of your life choices, let me explain why I asked that question. Let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about my crazy journey first and explain why I'm asking you that question. I have a wonderful family. I also have a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old senior at Alcoa High School. Go Tornadoes, sorry. And because of that, I wear a lot of hats and I get called a lot of names. Mom, hey you, brah. wife, daughter, sister, friend, mentor, mentee, and doctor care. That last one still takes me by surprise sometimes. My journey to becoming Dr. Care certainly wasn't a straight one for sure. My naive 18-year-old self had a plan. I was going to attend college to become an engineer. I wanted to be in the marching band and return to my home in Panama City, Florida, and create a great life for myself. Well, that wasn't quite how it happened. I did not make the Auburn Marching Band, which was a bummer, and I definitely didn't get that scholarship I needed to go. But on the journey back home, a friend invited me to stay in their dorm at a small liberal arts college in Montgomery, Alabama. I fell in love with that campus and with the people, and I realized that was the place I needed to be. I did have a teacher tell me at the end of my freshman year that I wasn't going to quite make it as an engineer, and I needed to find a new passion. As you can probably appreciate, I was pretty devastated. But the same day in my public speaking class that was required in the core, my professor, Dr. Kimberly Speech, asked me to stay behind for just a few minutes. But because she could tell I was pretty upset because I got some pretty crazy news. She said I really should consider communications because respectfully, my mom and dad did name me Gabby, and I do love to gab. And she said that she could see potential in me and I should consider this pathway. So after multiple classes in that major, I was determined my new path was as a political ghostwriter. I'm not that either yet. I must admit I still can't watch a speech without having her voice in my head, Dr. Speech's voice in my head, breaking down all the different theoretical components of rhetorical communications. My pathway to where I am now is still quite windy. I worked as a political intern in college, met and married my college sweetheart, and then he and the United States military took me on a journey I never could have imagined. 6 moves in the United States, 4 international moves, and almost every single time I had to start over. A new place, a new home, new friends, a lot of job interviews, new stresses, new joys, and thankfully a whole lot of new adventures. Sometimes it was lonely and sometimes it was exhausting. Sometimes it was amazing and sometimes I wondered, what on earth is happening? If I could go back and tell that younger self, that younger version of myself, I don't think I'd give her a map because it definitely wouldn't have helped anyway. I'd tell her to hold on, I'd tell her to stay curious, and I'd tell her to embrace the journey. Because one thing I've learned is that life is what happens to our plan. But 8 years ago, right after I finally completed my PhD in management, and let me tell you, it took a lot of tears, a lot of pep talks, and a very long time, my crazy, winding journey brought me to Maryville College. This was my first full-time teaching gig. By then, I had worked in higher ed, healthcare, government project management, training, development, a little bit of everything. I had the experience, I had earned the degree, I had done the work, but I was stepping into a completely new role. And there's something stepping into something completely new that can make even a well-prepared person wonder, am I really ready for this? Can I rise to the occasion? And yet, here I am. I tell you this because at some point this year, you may have one of those moments too. You may wonder if you're good enough, smart enough, talented enough, prepared enough, experienced enough. You may look around and think everyone else has this figured out, but I've got a little secret. They don't. Some of us just have gotten better at looking like we actually do. So whether you're beginning your first year at Maryville College or your 21st, I want to offer 3 reminders that I wish I could go and tell my younger self. And frankly, reminders that I still need today. First, be present. I say this a lot to even my teenagers. Put that phone down sometimes. Look around. Talk to the person sitting next to you in class. Thanks for that prompt, Dr. Coker, getting them to talk. Say hello. Talk to someone you don't know. Build relationships. Go to the game. Go to the concert. Go to the theater. Take the trip. Join the club. Say yes to something that might potentially scare you a little bit. Ask for help. And also learn that it's okay to say no. Don't become so focused on what's happening right now that you miss what's Don't become so focused on whatever comes next, you miss what is happening right now. Second, I would encourage you to stay curious. Ask the questions. Please ask the questions. I promise your professors will actually love you for it. Speak up in class. We want to hear your voice. Try something you're not quite sure you'll be good at. Explore an idea that challenges what you think you know, and make mistakes, because you will. You're going to get things wrong, and so am I. Mistakes aren't necessarily failures, they are feedback. Pay attention to that feedback, learn from it, adjust, and keep going forward. And third, give yourself a little bit of grace. Give it to the people around you, and don't forget to give some to yourself as well. There will be days when your best is just amazing, and there will be days when your best is simply the best you can do that day. You're going to say the wrong things, you're going to miss an opportunity, you're going to disappoint someone is going to disappoint you. Learn from it. Apologize when you need to, forgive when you can, and keep moving forward. Because this experience isn't only about preparing you for your next job or your next degree. Yes, we want you to learn the material, and yes, please read your textbooks. But your time here is also about discovering who you are becoming. What kind of friend will you be? What kind of colleague? What kind of leader? What kind of community member? What kind of neighbor? What will you do when no one is grading you? So I'll end where I started. Why are you here? Maybe you know. Maybe you think you know. Maybe you have absolutely no idea, and that's okay too. Your answer may change. Your plans most certainly will. Mine certainly did. But let me tell you, we are home. Welcome home to the Chilhowie Mountains, and I would encourage you to grow where you are planted. So while you're here, be present, be curious, give yourself and each other some grace. Welcome, my friends, to Maryville College. Have a wonderful year, and go Scots. Now, please allow me to introduce to you all Izzy Freeman, your Student Government Association President, for a welcome to the students.
Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of the student body, welcome staff, faculty, and new and returning students. I have the honor to be speaking to you today about my experience as a Maryville College student. As a first-generation college student, I did not know what to expect when I first got here. I was scared out of my mind about what was going to transpire in the coming years, and even more terrified of the idea that I may fail. I didn't have much guidance on how I was to tackle the mountain that is undergrad, and I had no idea what I was capable of accomplishing. But one of the first things I heard when I arrived here on campus was do good on the largest possible scale. At the time, I didn't really know what that meant. I was sitting in this theater, much like you, trying not to doze off after having a more than challenging preseason. But I later asked myself, what does scale truly mean? Does it mean going out and solving world peace? Does it mean winning a Nobel Prize for resolving the climate crisis? It wasn't until I was writing the speech that the puzzle pieces started to fit. Doing good on the largest possible scale doesn't necessarily mean going out and fixing the world all in one go. Oftentimes, the largest possible scale is much, much smaller. It could mean including someone who feels like they don't belong. It could mean speaking out against injustice. Or it could simply mean being the person who makes someone's day a little bit brighter. My volleyball team has the slogan that we live by: pressure is a privilege. And now I'm aware that it does sound like something off of a poster you may find in the back of a social studies class in high school. But if you really think about it, it does challenge you to think a little bit differently. Pressure means that there's something expected of you. Someone believes that you are capable of meeting or even exceeding expectations. Standing where I am right now is pressure, and sitting where you are right now is pressure. Stepping outside your comfort zone is pressure, and being the first person in your family to navigate college is pressure. And it is all pressure that should be celebrated, because it means that you are more than capable of being successful. I recommend accepting that uncomfortable pressure that sits like a rock in your stomach and challenging the way you view it. I have, and it has allowed me to do things that I never thought were possible. It has made me realize that college and the world are not just shaped by the people who come before us, but is also shaped by the students sitting in this room. Welcome to Maryville College, and welcome to the opportunity to embrace that pressure and do good on the largest possible scale. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Izzy. First, we had a script snafu, and I want to make a very, very important introduction. Marcia Kilby, stand up. Marcia is an alumna and the current chair of the board. So if there's a script snafu and involves your boss, you better think about it quick. And then I'm fortunate that my other boss, Ms. Sarah Coker, sent me a text to say, "You realize there was a mistake?" And I said, "Yes, so as usual, the women in my life are getting it right." All right, Izzy, I could not agree more that you, all of our students, will shape this college while you are here. And we hope long after you graduate, you'll continue to shape this community. Today, we recognize a former student with the college's Distinguished Service Award for the extraordinary ways he has impacted his alma mater, this community, for more than half a century. 65 years ago this month, a young man from Walland, Tennessee, less than 10 miles up Lamar Alexander Parkway, attended his first convocation at Maryville College. John Nichols was a first-generation college student and, by his own description, very poor. But he had the opportunity to attend Maryville, and it truly changed the trajectory of his life. What John heard during freshman orientation stayed with him, especially the promise of the dean, Dr. Frank McClelland, that Maryville College would liberate students' minds so that they could think for themselves and make their own decisions in life. John became a liberal arts patriot that very first semester. He not only graduated 7 semesters later, he went on to help thousands of other students graduate during a 44-year teaching career in the Sutton Science Center. He played a pivotal role in expanding and modernizing the Math and Computer Sciences Division, and he has created an endowment that will benefit current and future students in those disciplines. Please join me in watching this video about this remarkable alumnus of Maryville College.
I ended up teaching here, it was sort of an accident. It was not my plan because there were no openings while I was in graduate school. And I just finished the master's degree and was going to begin to look for a job when I got a call from Mr. Mac Toller. He said, "I'm retiring and I would love for you to be the one that took my place." So that led me to Maryville College. I loved working with the students. I love to see them grow. I had a phrase called aha moments. You know, you're teaching someone and they're trying to get this point, and you see, yeah, aha, they got it, you know.
I think what's most important to John was his students. And when he talked about those students, it was with love and pride in what they had become. I often smile when I'm walking across campus with John at homecoming because of how many people stop him wanting to visit, or how many people he pulls aside because he wants to catch up and hear how they're doing. We hear from those students what an impact John had on their time here, and in general, just how much they appreciate this place and value their 4 years that they had at the college. One thing that I think is impressive about John's time here is moving the division forward by adding programs in computer science, engineering, statistics.
Around 1979, Dr. Bill Dent and I, who were running the Department of Mathematics, were visited by Georgia Tech, and they asked us to participate in a new program called a 3-2 or dual degree program, where our students, after 3 years here, would transfer to Georgia Tech for 2 years to get their engineering technical courses. It was a very good program for us. Lots of students went into the program. The computer science program sort of evolved at Maryville College. The interest began when Dr. Dent and I returned to teach from our leaves to teach mathematics. We had experience in computer science and felt like there was a great need to include computer science in our program. So we decided to introduce two majors that combine computer science with other disciplines. We combined one with business and computer science with mathematics. The first course was taught by me without a computer. And to have our regular program without computer science, our students would be out of touch.
John's very deserving of this award. I can't think of anybody who loves the college more, has been more committed to its mission. John often comes back to visit, has stayed connected with the college, and recently provided an endowment to provide scholarships to outstanding students within the division. And I think that's very appropriate given how committed John always has been to our students.
I was privileged to be part of the first computer science business class, and I would never have been there without Dr. John Nichols. Dr. Nichols, years later, I reached out and he was still contributing and making the program the best it could be. He worked with every person to ensure that they were getting the most out of their education and was always available. He's been giving back to the college for decades. It's only fit and right that he deserves such an honor because he has been such an honor. Congratulations, Dr. Nichols. You are one of a kind. You are a blessing. You have taken Maryville College to the next level. And because of you, so many of us have been able to move forward and be successful. So here's to you, and thank you for all that you have done, not only for me, but for Maryville College.
Through the years, Maryville College has given me a lot as a student and as a professor, and I decided I wanted to give back to the college in some way. And I thought a good thing to do would be to endow a fund that would reward our students for their good, hard work. I'm glad I made a difference in people's lives. I'm glad I turned them on to mathematics. I got them attracted to it and learned that it's a discipline that you can enjoy. As I said before, I love to see the aha moments. I love to see students say, yeah, I got it, I know that.
At a breakfast earlier this morning, we formally presented Dr. Nichols with the Distinguished Service Award, and he and his family members are in attendance with us here. John, please stand and allow all of us to show our appreciation. Thank you for all you have done for this community, for Maryville College. John, please stand. It's beautiful. Thank you so much to our concert choir. Now for the introduction of our speaker today. So for the past few years, I, as the college's president, have been our designated speaker for this convocation ceremony. And while I'm happy to fulfill those speaking duties, I'm also self-aware enough to know that perhaps you all might enjoy hearing from someone else on occasion. And I believe it's important for us as an institution of higher education to host a variety of voices on our campus each year. And finally, the history of this convocation ceremony is one of hosting various notable speakers at this special event throughout our history. There are a couple of qualities I really admire and respect in leaders. Number one, I admire and I respect those who see leadership as an opportunity to give back and improve life for others. And number two, I greatly admire and respect those who can work and accomplish things across the aisle with those who hold different positions, beliefs, and values, and especially when they can do so at a time when our nation is so divided. I am pleased to report that today's convocation speaker, the Honorable Zeb Smathers, Mayor of Canton, North Carolina, fits the bill on both of those fronts. Zeb grew up in Canton, North Carolina. It's a couple of hours away from here, not far from where I also grew up. You've likely seen the Canton exit on Interstate 40, not too far away from Asheville. Zeb has an impressive resume. He received his undergraduate degree from Duke University and then his law degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Zeb then returned to Canton to work in his family's law firm there. But Zeb caught my attention in his role as mayor of Canton, North Carolina. There are some leaders who seemingly have easy, uneventful tenures in their leadership roles, and there are others who face a number of challenges. As for Zeb's tenure as mayor, while I know there have been joys and successes, there have been major challenges, from the closure of the historic Canton paper mill to multiple natural disasters, including the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Later this semester, we'll actually be showing a documentary here on campus all about the paper mill closure in Canton. It's your first motion picture debut, I believe? Okay. As for that second leadership quality I mentioned, people who are effective at working across the aisle, Zeb absolutely fits the bill there as well. For those of you who remarked that I sure had a lot of Republicans at our commencement a few months ago, Zeb here is a Democrat. And he's a Democrat working and making a difference in deeply Republican territory here in Southern Appalachia. And for that, I admire him greatly. Zeb's leadership journey has taken him many places, including to the White House and the Oval Office. He was awarded the Dogwood Award in 2023 by North Carolina's Attorney General and now current governor, was named Haywood County's Person of the Year in 2023, and was the Haywood Chamber's 2024 Person of the Year. But most importantly, he is Ashley's husband and Stone's dad. So please join me in welcoming a leader who is of and for this region, our region here in Southern Appalachia, our convocation speaker, the Honorable Zeb Smathers, Mayor of Canton, North Carolina. Zeb.
So first off, my wife doesn't even say those nice things about me. So I appreciate that. And Dr. Kerr, I think, again, be on the other side of the mountain. You know, we share some cousins, and my speech is somewhat going to be a cousin to you, but I'm also a little intimidated when you said that you grade speeches on the fly. So I feel a little intimidated by here. I feel like I'm back in college again, so I'm going to give it my best. But President Coker, faculty and staff, members of the board, proud families, honored guests, and most importantly, the students of Maryville College. Thank you for this honor. Speaking of families, I first want to recognize two families that forever connect my hometown of Canton to this remarkable institution, the Pinkston and Boney families. Joe Pinkston graduated from here in 2014, where he played soccer and returned to coach the women's soccer team to a championship in 2022. His wife Mallory and her twin sister, Lauren, as well as their sister Meredith, played volleyball. And even in the audience today, where is he? Luke Pinkston. Where's Luke? Somewhere? He must have slept in. His brother said he'd be here. Oh, he's in trouble. What did I tell his dad? But Luke played football here recently. I highlight these families because anyone who knows these families in Canton, the Pinkstons, their lives have been defined by service, generosity, integrity, and an unwavering belief that communities become stronger when people invest in things bigger than themselves. They have carried those values from Canton to Maryville, and in doing so has brought Maryville back to Canton. Even today, when I see Joe running in the park where I was this morning, who's in much better shape than I am, and usually he blows by me with a Maryville Scots t-shirt on. But the Pinkstons and the Boney families remind us of something important. A college is never just a building or a classroom. It is forever its people. It is its families. Its generations choosing to leave something better than they found it. Their legacy and their legacy of this college is one of the countless reasons I am humbled to be with you here today. President Coker, thank you for this invitation and for your vision of this college as an institution not simply found in the Appalachian Mountains, but truly of and for the people of the Appalachian Mountains, this state, and this region. This vision resonates with me because I believe our region has much more to offer to this world than sometimes the world recognizes. But let's be honest. When you walked in here today and got your program, you probably wondered why you were spending time with the mayor from some town called Canton. You probably asked who canceled, who got sick, and probably, did I make the right choice of even coming here? The answer to that question is absolutely you did. Canton is a small town nestled across the Pigeon River, and today as I crossed in I-40 over here, it also dawned on me that again, the Pigeon River runs through Canton. It is what brought the settlers to Canton, my family being one of the first. It brought the paper mill, and I think it will bring our future. But that same Pigeon River runs to Tennessee. Pigeon Forge is the Pigeon River. But also it's not lost on me, there are people in this room that their understanding of Canton and that river is much different than mine. Because for years, the very paper mill that became part of our heritage, where our football jerseys on special games did not say Pisgah, but say Milltown. That was our identity. That company, for decades and generations, polluted that river. Even growing up, I remember the river below the mill on the way to Tennessee was black and covered in foam with an odor and a soot. But it was jobs and it was tradition. But as we move forward, it is not lost on myself as mayor or as a proud North Carolinian that we have an obligation to atone for our sins and that realize the gifts of the Almighty are more important than the gifts of the almighty dollar. And so again, I believe the future of Canton will be one that all, both Tennesseans and North Carolinians, will be proud of. But Canton is a place where people know your grandparents before they know you. The kind of place where your successes are celebrated, your failures are forgiven, and your neighbors show up before you even have to ask. Like many small towns, we've faced hardships. We endured COVID. We've survived 2 devastating floods, one in 21, and then obviously Helene. I was told in 21 it was a once-in-a-lifetime storm. We made it 3 years. Sadly, it feels once in a lifetime seems to be happening every year. We lost the economic engine that sustained generations of our paper mill. After 115 years of operation, more than 1,100 jobs and our identity disappeared. Then Hurricane Helene arrived and changed our community once again. The record of flooding in Canton until Helene was 23 feet in 2004. Helene was 27 feet. I had to go back and look the last time Canton or West North Carolina went through a flood like Helene. I found it. I had to go way back. all the way back to the book of Genesis and Noah was the last time. We even had a few earthquakes, wildfires, and yes, locusts. And there have been times I feel that I've been walking through the book of Revelations, one chapter at a time. And there were moments when I felt everything we loved had been washed away or shut down. And in those moments, I'll offer my first piece of advice. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. How quickly it can change. COVID, a hurricane that we had 2 hours to prepare for, 6 lives lost, 1,100 jobs gone, and then Hurricane Helene. There are still people with empty chairs at their tables today because in the moment, their lives changed. But despite the naysayers, Canton's still here. Ones who have lost everything, their homes, businesses, jobs, and those loved ones, still believe better days ahead. We have lost a lot in this country, but we have not lost the belief that better days are ahead of us, and there are leaders of all sorts, of all beliefs, of all backgrounds that can help get us there. And to be the mayor of a place that believes that is truly humbling, because it is their grit and grace which have gotten them to that spot. Storms reveal character. Adversity introduces you to yourself. And hope is found in circumstances, not in government, but in the people. And the greatest lessons I've learned as mayor has nothing with being an elected official. There are lessons learned in the trenches and literally in the river, helping get people out. Or hugging people that have come up to you that have both lost their jobs at a paper mill closing, and they want to pray for you. It's ordinary people choosing extraordinary love to accomplish great things. But in those moments, I have also watched Democrats and Republicans fill sandbags together, pull people out of the river, truly, and not ask to see their voter ID card. I've watched churches feed people, not asking what their beliefs were or where they were from. I've watched neighbors who have lost everything help others first. Those moments remind us, as President Lincoln challenged us, that the better angels of ourselves do still exist. They remind us that we don't have to settle for the division in this country. There are plenty of people that are peddling division. We do not have to accept it. Every single day, every person in this room can decide how you're going to be today and what you're going to demand. And once you see the best in people, you don't have to accept anything less. But that lesson isn't just for politics. It's for every classroom on this campus, every residence hall, every friendship you'll build here, every disagreement you'll have, every future career you'll pursue. Because eventually you will discover something. The world doesn't need more successful people. It needs servants. It needs bridge builders, more listeners, more people willing to leave a place better than they found it. Maryville College never existed merely to produce graduates. Its purpose has always been to produce leaders. Not leaders seeking titles or cliques. Leaders because of their character. The diploma you will earn here will open doors, but it will be your character will determine what happens when you walk through them. But it's not going to get easier. You will be tested, you will be hurt, you will fail, and you will be tempted to give up. But with that being said, I'll share with you some things that helped me going in those spots. When I was at Duke, and when I was at Carolina, and when I was in those trenches. First, other than the words, "I love you," the most important word in the English language is home. Home is what connects us. We all have one. You're now leaving one to make this your home. But home isn't simply where you grew up, but it's where you learn kindness. It's where someone first believed in you. It's where someone sacrificed something so you could sit in this room here today. Every one of you have people that have brought you here. Parents, step-parents, foster parents, grandparents, teachers, coaches, pastors, friends, someone who worked overtime, someone who prayed for you, someone who stayed up worrying about you, someone who believed in you before you believed in yourself. Never forget them. Because when life becomes uncertain, and it will take those lessons to remember who you are. Remember who you are. Where you came from, whose shoulders you're standing on, their memory will become your anchor. It will recenter you. It will hold you steady. And it will remind you you've already overcome more than you realize. Remembering who you are will allow you to push forward. Third, don't let college interfere with your education. What's lost on me also when I passed the Pigeon River today, there was a big billboard celebrating Popcorn Sutton. That's a little disagreement because Haywood County, we sort of claim Popcorn Sutton, the infamous moonshiner, but so does Tennessee. But in the spirit of college not interfere with the education, go to class. Just go to class. I'm not promising you distinguishment, but I think you'll make it through. Just go to class. Study hard. Learn from these extraordinary professors that their adventures and trials and tribulations have brought them here to share with you. But don't stop there. Sit with someone whose life is completely different than yours. Take the class that scares you. Travel. Ask questions. Listen more than you speak. Volunteer. Read books you disagree with. Attend concerts. Win with humility. And lose gracefully. Become curious. Ask the question. Because education is not simply gathering information. It is that formation of character. And character is what the world desperately needs. And as you begin this academic year, it is not lost on any of us, you are arriving at a remarkable time in history. A time of great upheaval and change. Technology is changing faster than any generation before you now. AI is and will continue to reshape careers in how you learn. Politics, sadly, will continue to divide, and the world will often tell you to be louder, faster, angrier. Don't believe it. The future will still belong to people who think deeply, still value truth, who still show kindness, who will choose courage over comfort, and still remember that every person that they encounter possesses inherent dignity and respect. That is leadership. Because another great misconception of life I have found is that significance comes from being known. It doesn't. It comes from being useful. You don't have to be famous to change the world. You simply have to matter deeply to the people God has placed in front of you. Because maybe someday you'll become a doctor, or an entrepreneur, a scientist, a teacher, an artist, or perhaps a mayor of a small town that most people have never heard of. But whatever path you choose, never underestimate the impact of faithfully serving one community. because there are more Maryvilles than Manhattans. There are more Cantons than Charlottes. Small towns still matter. The people that live there matter, and your life matters too. And as Reverend Isaac Anderson envisioned, this institution serves people to do good on the largest possible scale. Sometimes one neighborhood, one classroom, one patient, one client, one child is who will be the recipient of that difference. But again, there will be a day that you're scared, you're disappointed, you don't know what comes next. And when that day comes, simply remember where you came from, who you are, the ones that came before you, the ones that are counting on you. Because if you remember that, you will find another gear. You will get up one more time. You'll hold on a little longer. And that, my friends, is all it takes. Congratulations on this new adventure, and go Scots.
Thank you so much, Mayor Smathers. Will you please rise as you are able for the declaration of the academic year? At my home, there's always a table with an unfinished jigsaw puzzle on it. It's not that we can't figure out how to finish one, but rather that as soon as we complete one, we want to start another. Sometimes we're picky about what puzzle we start. Sometimes I want one with repeated shapes and patterns because focusing on them stills my mind, slows my breathing, and makes my shoulders drop. My husband often wants one with an image of a famous piece of art. He likes that completing the puzzle helps him better understand and appreciate the original. We're often content with hand-me-down puzzles from friends, and unlike many others, we don't really care if the boxes are missing a few pieces. Occasionally, we sit down with determination to work on a puzzle for a solid hour or so, sometimes together, sometimes alone. Other times, we just let it steal our attention for a moment on the way from one room to another. Regardless, there's always a puzzle. There's the puzzle, and then there are also its pieces. For the cardboard puzzles we buy, we often know the image we're working to form. It's there for us on the box, and when what we have on the table looks like what's on the box, we're done. For the larger set of puzzles life presents to us, we're often unsure exactly what the final product will look like. Both the image and the pieces shift and change in the process of completing it. I once changed the direction of a long friendship when I came to believe that I was valued mostly as a missing piece of that person's puzzle, one with an image settled on long before we met. I too had plans and aspirations, but I knew that to the extent that I was a puzzle piece in any way in this world, I was an evolving one, open to and capable of change. And I was also a puzzle all my own. By seeing myself as more than a fixed piece of a puzzle and making space to see others that way as well, I came to a deeper understanding that those puzzles that relate to friendships, family, and community require great personal care and mutual respect. They also require that we not only grapple with ambiguity, difference, and change, but that we appreciate their beauty in our lives. My husband and I rarely tackle tasks the same way. Puzzles are no exception. I am someone who immediately sets to work sorting the edge pieces from the others and building the frame of the puzzle. I pay far more attention initially to the shapes of the pieces than the images and colors on them. My brain registers the number and placements of outies and innies long before it recognizes if a piece is mostly red with a dash of blue or mostly blue with a dash of red. My husband notices colors and images first, and he is utterly content to start a puzzle with the first piece he picks up. Believe it or not, our marriage has survived these differences. And just as remarkably, our puzzles get completed. In life, we agree on which values it's critical that we share. Past that, we respect our differences and make space to see and often try the work from each other's perspectives. We've learned how to recognize and respect the strengths in our differences, to leverage them in our problem solving, to teach them to one another, and to recognize how they enrich the experiences we share. In other words, the low-stakes exercise of completing cardboard jigsaw puzzles together has helped us see how we also manage the puzzle of growing as individuals and as a couple. Last week, each new student received a giant puzzle piece. On one side was a portion of an image. On the other was space for that person to write their name and to identify their personal goals for their time at Maryville College or the strengths that they are happy that they're bringing to this experience. No one got to see the box. What are your puzzles and what are their pieces? I argue that your individual puzzles include pieces that start to answer these questions. Who am I? What am I still exploring? What are my values? What do they mean for how I will live my life? How will you look at the pieces in your own puzzle? How will you observe the moving image that is taking shape? Who can help you look and how? What's that image taking form on your specific Maryville College puzzle piece? Of the full puzzle that belongs to your class? Of the puzzle that belongs to the whole of Maryville College, past, present, and future? I encourage you to notice the pieces in the myriad of ways that can be done, but to worry less about knowing for certain what you see today and more about how to let the pieces reveal themselves to you as they develop and connect with one another. Let the other pieces here help you. New students, you each have a piece, so that means supporting one another, as that support brings clarity, opportunity, and purpose to both individual and shared puzzles. Each of you is a meaningful piece of many interlocking pieces, but also interlocking puzzles. Puzzles you arrived at Maryville with, puzzles that will unfold here, and stories you will shape in the ways you live, lead, and love for the rest of your lives. We wish only the best for you as you observe that your future unfolds precisely as it comes together. At the end of convocation, you'll process through a tunnel of those who will support you at Maryville, at which time you will receive your commemorative 2026-2027 academic year pen. These pens continue a new tradition started just last year of honoring our shared aspirations for the year ahead. This year's is Discovery Through Community. Each year you'll receive a new pen celebrating a new aspiration. We hope you'll display yours proudly, perhaps on your backpack or your bulletin board, and that you will keep this token through graduation, where you will wear it proudly on your robe. It is now my pleasure to honor and declare that the 2026-2027 academic year has begun. Will you please remain standing for the singing of the alma mater?
You may be seated. I invite you to join me in prayer. Loving and gracious God, as we begin this new academic year, we are grateful for the many ways you call us into community with you and with one another. We are grateful for the beauty that surrounds us and for this campus filled with history, dedication, and memories. We pray that it will continue to be a place where all can find welcome, where our students can be nurtured and equipped, and where we can all find ways to work for justice, strive for peace, and care for creation. Ever-present God, this time of transition can be difficult. Though we are excited about new opportunities, we can grow anxious in the face of change. Give us strength to make connections. Give us patience with ourselves and with one another as we all grapple to grow through new challenges. When we are cornered by despair and discouragement, help us find joy in the world around us. When we are weary and exhausted, help us find the rest and rejuvenation we need to thrive. When we are struggling, help us remember that we are not alone and guide us in reaching out to others. And when we are doing well, help us look for those who are not. Show us how to be better friends and lead us in ways of care. Holy Teacher, we are grateful for all those on our campus who serve this community with their gifts and skills. We thank you for the staff, faculty, and students who teach and coach, who counsel and advise, who clean and support, who feed us and lead us. May they all feel that they belong to this community, and may this be a safe place for them to grapple with life's hard questions, to explore new perspectives, to be supported no matter the trials they face, and to listen humbly for how you will speak through others. Compassionate God, we are grateful for our students. We thank you for the ways they enliven our campus and give us hope for the future. We ask for you to protect our students' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Keep them safe as they travel, as they learn, as they compete, as they lead, and as they live together in community. May they find the resources they need, may they find opportunities for engagement, and may they be enriched by the community that surrounds them. God who sees us, you know us and love us. As we enter the unknown of this year, help us to stay curious. Open our minds to different ideas and perspectives. Open our hearts to new people and places. Open our eyes so we may better see the world around us. Open our ears to more clearly hear the voices beyond our own. Open our hands so they may lift another, and open our mouths so we may speak words of love in a world that so desperately needs it. We pray all this in your holy name. Amen. Friends, I invite you to please stand as you are able for the benediction, and please remain standing for the choral benediction. Following the choral benediction, staff, faculty, and students will exit the theater as part of the recessional. Students, you will join the recessional by class, beginning with the senior class and ending with first-year students. All other guests may take their seats during the recessional. And one final reminder, all new students should next convene for the class photo on Anderson Lawn in 15 minutes, which will be followed by the Covenant Stone ceremony in Humphreys Courts. So please rise for the benediction. Friends, as we leave this assembly and begin our academic year, may you know that you belong. May you be reminded that you are known and loved, cared for, and delighted in. And may God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may God grant you peace. Amen.